From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into another episode of the Pucks Out Podcast. I'm Bobby Butler. He's Brandon Bond.
Hey-o.
You can find us in the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open a cold beer and let's get after it.
Tailgate again for the folks at home. You had lots of leftover tailgates, so not ones to waste beer.
It's the spot.
It doesn't hit the spot like it used to when we recorded on Mondays.
Yeah.
Because, the first beer of the week after, a long weekend would have had to be.
Weekend of drinking.
Weekend, right. Well, I mean, we got to recover. Man. So what have you been up to this week?
Working, man. We are getting ready for my mom's move, so packing up, putting stuff in the pod, getting ready for the big move.
The moving pod.
Yeah.
We're not putting stuff inside of this pod.
No.
Yeah, man.
How about you, bud?
Yeah, I went over to the folks this weekend, did some grilled ham. My dad does some killer grilled ham, dude. It's like they put like brown sugar on it, and I had way too much of that. Paired with my my King Cobras. I've been on a Cobra kick, dude. Been trying to save some money. You buy 2 or 3 of them bad boys. It's cheaper than buying a 12-pack. And you don't make it to number 3 generally.
And it's more cultured. It's fancy.
Well, and especially, the only way I like to drink it is with a paper bag on it. Yeah. Because what if I want to go to the street corner and, yell at some hooligans or, something like that. So, I want to be legal while doing it. Man. So what do we got? What do we got today, buddy?
We've got an awesome interview with Brock McGillis, to round out our Pride Month. Don't forget, you check us out on What a Maneuver to get all the apparel you need. Find us on Patreon to get behind the scenes content and videos, and check us out on YouTube. And we'll have all video up there. And starting in a couple weeks, we're going to start. We have a couple preview videos of the regular episodes on Patreon, and those were kind of testers. I'm getting used to editing, and once we're in the new studio and have more space, all episodes will be video.
Sorry for you guys, by the way.
So that'll be fun. But let's we got some new stuff to introduce, so let's get to the news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Little loud right in my ear, but hopefully for the podcast listeners at home, you got it at an adequate volume. We don't want you to go deaf and then have to head over to YouTube and watch us there. I want to be honest. When you can't hear us, not nearly as fun.
Yeah. But let's get in some news. And by the way, thank you to Charlie Saunier for those. They're awesome.
Yeah,
check out his radio show. And so let's start off with Austin Matthews, tested positive for coronavirus. Now, we're doing the right journalistic thing. We waited till the team announced it.
Yeah.
Unlike the asshole who was Steve Simmons announced it before it was supposed to be announced.
Now, to be fair, this is the first time we've recorded since it came out. So would we have broke it? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. I would have.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. First, hopeful, I hope he has a quick recovery. But they were, for me, one of the most ethical things is not releasing medical information on somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally agree with that. If we were real journalists, I would, not that, technically we are, but I don't see us as news breakers. Yeah. We're podcasters. There is a more of a responsibility honest, with the journalist.
If it trickled down to us, that means other people know. And
somebody's known because realistically,
we don't have a line straight to Austin Matthews' doctor.
Nor do we have many sources out there. We haven't really developed ourselves. And again, not really those type of folks. But yeah, I can agree with that to be a beat writer or something along those lines. And That's what the world has made it, though. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, news first. Who cares if it's wrong? Nobody will remember if it's wrong, and you just get it out there first.
But so he was practicing in Arizona with a bunch of Coyotes players. He was there with Freddie Anderson. You have to think that, you know, this is not, and like over 200 players tested positive.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Bobby, are they enacting my plan of just getting everybody coronavirus? Because like
it's starting to, honestly, it seems like they're inadvertently doing that.
I've been plugging it the entire time. So
Subliminally, or I think that's how you say that word. Subliminally. Nope.
Subliminally.
I'm going to give up on that.
Subliminally. Yeah. Because I was going to hit you with it. I'm glad to give up. I'm going to let it go.
Yeah. Subconsciously, they hear you and that's what they're going to do.
I think so. And, you know, and this is, I guess it kind of goes directly against what you're just talking about, breaking news of people's medical records. But it doesn't really count if it's pre the person having the medical disease. No, I think that that's fair. If I'm just predicting, that's more of like an ESP type of thing. I got ESPN in my boobs, Bobby. So, So Austin Matthews, you know, like you said, a bunch of other players have had it.
I don't think there's going to, I mean, they've announced that the start date for the qualifying rounds is July 30th. That's not far away. I don't see how they can responsibly do this. I think that it's going to get down to the wire and they're going to maybe call things off because we've seen the numbers go up in states a lot.
I think irresponsibility is going to be key here. You know, I mean, at this point, I'm not a big guy that says, you know, oh, these guys make so much money. But come on, you guys make a lot of money. You guys got the key to not succumbing to COVID. It's money.
Yeah. Stay home, do nothing, don't go to restaurants. And they're able to do that. So I guess we'll just see what happens and stay with us.
We will see.
Hall of Fame announcement will be made after this records, but prior to airing. So that would have happened yesterday. If you're listening to this at 3:30, we will, I guess, talk on Twitter about who makes a Hall of Fame. We'll go into detail.
Anybody good up for?
I haven't done a lot of research. I know one of the possibles is Ron Brindamore, who I hope he makes it in. And while you're doing that, the draft lottery phase 1 is this Friday, the 26th. It's phase 1, meaning including this. It includes the 7 teams who didn't make the qualifying rounds. And while you continue that research, I'll go through real quick the 7 teams, and the probabilities are based on their point percentages of the season. So starting from the least amount of odds first is Buffalo, who had a point percentage of 0.493. They have a 6.5% chance. New Jersey Devils at 7.5% chance. Anaheim Ducks at 8.5%. The Kings, 9.5%. Ottawa, 11.5%. I don't know why Ottawa. Oh, I guess Ottawa has 2 chances at it. So Ottawa at 11.5 and Ottawa at 13.5, I guess, from a trade. And then with the highest chances, the Red Wings at 18.5%.
So I've got what looks like to be a loose list that not everybody that is up for first year eligible inductions. But basically, in order to qualify for this as a goaltender, you have to have played a minimum of 400 NHL regular season games, 1 over 200 NHL games, or recorded 25 or more NHL shutouts. The forwards and defensemen listed played a minimum of 1,000 games and recorded a minimum of 300 goals, 400 assists, or 700 points. The small list that we have here, this is again not the full list, so don't come at us too hard. Brian Campbell, Shane Doan, Mikhail Handzus, I don't know. Marian Hossa, Jerome Ignelia, Chris Neal, Mike Ribeiro, and Nick Schultz. So a couple of guys that you've heard of on that potential list. They got some notables that could potentially be in, and that's just for first year induction. So we will try to bring that up and discuss it next week.
And one thing I forgot to put on the doc, which is that James Neal doesn't count out returning to the Predators before he retires. He says he wants to come back to Nashville.
The real deal, James Neal?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It sucked to see him go. It was one of those situations where you couldn't protect him realistically with his contract that he was getting and the youth that they wanted to protect. But I always loved James Neal. I remember us going to that game after his long hiatus and coming back and him scoring a goal like almost immediately into that game. That was awesome. So great. I would love to see him back. Yeah. He's a killer to have.
Imagine if we'd kept him rather than Yonkrock at the expansion.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been probably better short term, but I mean, Yonkrock has been killing it this last year.
And if we get him back after 2 years, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, the opportunity's there, and that's what you got to weigh when you're doing this. Yes, James Neal is better than Callie Yonkrock at the current time, but you can't just go with a guy that could have left us after a year anyway. You know, I mean, he left Vegas, and not saying that he would, but he was going to command a lot more money than old Callie was for sure. And
let's be honest, the Preds salary cap situation isn't the best right now. We got a lot of contracts we got to settle up. Yep. So unless he takes a big hometown deal, let's not get our hopes up, people.
So to take it back to the probabilities based on points percentage for the draft, who do you think's getting the first pick, man?
I think Ottawa.
Really? Okay.
I mean, you've got they have two.
Two opportunities.
I mean, really, they have. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but it looks like they actually have like a 24% chance. In I don't know if that's how probabilities work. I am
gonna go with a dark horse here. Going with the Sabres.
Buffalo at 6.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Sabres. Because if there's anybody that can ruin a number one pick, it's Buffalo, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, so I think that we got a new drop for
so watch them
outside of the NHL, right?
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
Dope.
Yeah.
So let's start out with Novak Djokovic, test positive for COVID-19 after he irresponsibly hosted I get great intentions, a charity tennis match, but there was no social distancing.
You heard it here first. Bobby hates charity. To be fair to tennis, literally no one has to get close to one another.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, if
but then they go out of their way between matches to like they're dancing with each other. They're playing basketball. They're like, hey, let's take this thing that will be safe.
So it wasn't tennis. It wasn't tennis that may have caused it. It's dancing.
Well, it was also all the fans they allowed fans in.
Yeah, but they're tennis fans. So like, you guys are going to be all right.
They're like Eastern European tennis fans, which I mean, they probably get pretty rowdy.
You're fine. You're fine, buddy. And yeah, I mean, they're pretty close to the Switzerland there. So, I mean, we know how the Swiss are preventing the, spread of COVID by
I don't think Switzerland's close to Eastern Europe.
Yeah, but it's in Europe. So all of Europe's close to one another in my mind. Okay. Like we're talking about, you can drive across the continent of Europe probably quicker than you can get, on the interstate in Dallas, so that's all I'm saying.
All right. So, per industry source, the NCAA football has started seeing the upcoming season with negative feelings that it may not happen. Tell you what, man, this is a whole new world. If college football doesn't happen this year, that changes things. You're
talking about a rabid fan base, most of which could care less about, their grandmother dying. Your grandmother could probably care less about her dying if it wasn't for college football.
Oh yeah, I bet if we took a poll of just any, let's just say UT, would people sacrifice their grandmother for UT to win a national championship?
I think most people. I think most people's grandmother would sacrifice themselves. It's like one of those things. Like I will fall on the sword for UT.
Feels like 98, boy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's football time in Tennessee, buddy. doing the whole Japanese suicide ritual with the sword, the katana.
Seppuku.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, wow. Obviously, college football it's funny to see, NCAA football has started seeing the upcoming season with negative feelings, because that's exactly how everybody views the NCAA.
Yeah.
So no, man, that will be sad. It's one of those things though that you could see that it being a much bigger problem for a college, or at least most colleges. A lot of these bigger schools with huge sports endowments probably would be no big deal. But for a major league sports team that is bringing in millions upon millions of dollars to play without fans is one thing. But for a college, and especially some of these smaller colleges that maybe don't have a whole bunch of money to fall back on, how would they really afford this? I guess just getting paid to go get the crap beat out of them by Alabama like they usually do. So, we'll be interested to see where this goes, because I've held it together pretty good so far, Bobby. I think that I may weep on air if college football is canceled, man, because there ain't nothing like a cold, crisp Saturday, just drinking some beer. You got a nice light jacket on, and you got 8 hours of football just playing. You got 4 or 5 TVs going. Everybody's asking what's happening on this game. I'll be sad, bro. Yeah. I'm so glad.
We're getting our man cave at the new studio. We're gonna get that set up, and we might not have a chance to use it this year.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just get drunk in it or something. But but no. As much as I'm excited about the man cave, college football is not to me like NFL football, where I like to sit there, the man cave with the the computer running and the phone running and red zone on and Chris Hansen, guiding me through it. College football to me is, I want to be with
Chris Hansen,
Scott Hansen.
I was like, if Chris Hansen, you're watching a different program.
Got this college football transcript here, buddy. But college football, I want to be hanging out with some, friends and family and chips and dip and, beer and, talking about college football and what an idiot Lee Corso was that morning.
So just to go back, you like Scott Hansen more than Siciliano?
I don't.
He's a Sunday Ticket Red Zone host.
No, I'm not a Sunday Ticket guy. I'm a purist, okay? Scott Hansen is my man, dude. My man. That man, 2 years ago, he had to take a bathroom break. It was the first one in his entire career of like the 8 years he ran Red Zone. And like, there ain't no better words to me for fantasy football after a good hard day of drinking and hanging out with college football, of hearing the words, get ready for 7 hours of uninterrupted football. Like, oh, Scott, you know how to get to me, man. And he'll just tell you, he'll be like, all right, this game is garbage. We're going to go over to this game. Yeah, I'm a Scott Hansen guy.
Pretty sure Andrew Siciliano just wears a diaper.
See, that's lame. Look, Scott Hansen doesn't drink water for days preparing for this. And honestly, like, that's all he does anymore, I think. And I read up on him and stuff. Dude's climbed Everest like 4 times, and like, he's like pretty awesome. So
yeah. So all right. So let's move into our last bit of the news. Ryan Blaney won the Geico 500 at Dega.
Old Dega.
Yeah.
We might be going this coming up year.
Maybe.
We got some stuff stuff in the works, and we'll see.
I would love. So I'm new to NASCAR. Camping in the infield. Do you actually watch the race from the infield, or do they make you go to the stands?
No. You're like an infield ticket. It's like a steeplechase.
Because I was like, because that I would love to see. Like, so I definitely think that next year, maybe year after, like a bunch of us rent an RV, go down, put an RV in the infield, man, and just tailgate in the infield.
It would. When we went to the Indy 500, it was awesome, dude. It was so awesome, and we sat, like I told you, I think a couple weeks ago or maybe a week ago. We sat right outside of the pits in the stands, but my mom wants to do the snake pit for the actual tickets. And like, while the race is going on, there's like a concert going, and it was freaking awesome. And I know that you're not a not a huge sit down and watch a NASCAR race type of fan. And I'm not really either, unless I'm with folks and we can all talk and hang out. But I'll tell you, man, it gives you a whole new respect for really how fast those guys are
listen,
going.
like we talked about it, I tried hard this week to sit down and watch it, give it my time. Like I've said, the recent improvements the sport has made to the culture, they've earned my patronage. So I've tried to enjoy it. And I was like, yeah, this is rough.
Yeah.
But I love events. I love, I love sporting events. I like the atmosphere. And let's be honest, I'm so depleted. I would go see anything right now.
Yeah. I mean, if they said, look, we're going to have like 25 8-year-olds ride around in big wheels, I'll say, how big's the track, baby? Let's go.
Let's go tailgate.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's put some money on it. Are they on FanDuel?
Yeah, exactly. And horse racing's been back a while. I think we talked about me spending a Sunday just gambling on horse racing on FanDuel. So yeah, man, I'm excited for potentially going to that if we do end up deciding to do that.
Yeah. So let's move into our what would normally be games of the week. I guess what we're talking about today. We're talking about what we miss most about sports. We're starting to run dry on some content. So we'll just why don't you start us off, and we're gonna do our top 5 things that we miss most about sports. So why don't you start us off with your number 5?
Man, mine is honestly, and this could obviously be so much higher potentially, but just something to look forward to after a long day. Like even if it's, going to a sporting event, or it's just coming home and knowing that Monday Night Football's on, or, there's a hockey game on tonight. So it kind of, breaks up the monotony of just coming home and watching a TV show and sitting on my phone. And so just something to look forward to realistically throughout the day. I mean, everybody, weekends are always awesome. So we're always going to have fun, but just going to work all day and then being able to come home and sit and watch the Predators play, or even watch a random Wednesday night hockey game. And because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, somebody sat down at one point to watch the Malice at the Palace and got to see it live. That's the coolest thing about sports, is you never know what you're going to miss.
Yeah.
So something to look forward to is going to be my number 5.
Yeah, I've got tailgating and I get a Preds game. We don't really tailgate, but just the anticipation.
Yes,
the getting there, the getting the couple beers at Pete and Terry's.
Yeah,
you see all the fans coming in. Everyone's excited, paying too much for a beer, which we'll get to later. But just the overall anticipation before the game. Sometimes it's just Ubering up to the stadium or parking, and you've seen crowds of different player jerseys walking in.
Yeah.
It's just, especially in Nashville, dude, it's so cool.
Well, yeah, and especially in Nashville, but not even only your own team, but, heckling the other guys with the fun. I'm not one of those guys that, I'm not a Philly fan, for goodness sake, that'll fight somebody.
I like bricks
to
at people.
Yeah, I like to poke and give them a prod, like, oh, what are you doing here, type of stuff, and have a conversation with somebody. Hey, you from St. Louis? Or you from you just always been a fan or whatever? Getting to talk to folks like that, and at the pregame, and kind of just gearing up and preparing. That's a really good one, man. So my number 4, I've got making new, and it's in quotes, friends over something during the game. Whether it's, a stupid call or something stupid somebody else says, and just, you kind of are talking about it, and then all of a sudden you're friends for 2 hours, and then, then they're off into the sunset. It's like summer love, man. I mean, we know this is never going to last. And depending on how many beers we've had, we're definitely going to exchange phone numbers, and we're never going to call each other ever, ever at all. But it's just that camaraderie that kind of comes along with, you like the same thing I like. Let's be friends. It's more of that. So making new friends over something during the game, always. And me, I'll make a new friend literally anywhere I go. So there's always that long running joke that pretty much 100% of the time, and especially at Preds games, but really anywhere, I'm going to see somebody I know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was the streets of New Orleans. I ran into a group of people I know. You know, I mean, I have never met
20 minutes after we made the joke.
Yeah, I have never met a stranger. And so if you see me and we've talked before and you remember me, come holler at me. I'm always happy to say hello. And now that I'm famous, you'll probably want to. The answer is yes. I will autograph your wife's boob. All right. So what's your number?
Man, this one, my number 4 kind of works directly with yours. And that's high-fiving strangers after a score.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's such a dope feeling. You're just going around high-fiving everybody.
Boom.
Skipping over the one like Blackhawks fan that someone brought that's still sitting down all
sullen.
And it's even better when you're the away team. Mm-hmm. Like when you score and you're the team, like you're 5-5 over home fans.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that ties in, but it is completely separate because you may not make friends with the people you high five on, you know?
Yeah.
But
still interacting.
And then after the first group of high fives, you always kind of got your order. And so the first ones are a little shaky.
Sometimes you're like rough. Hanging there for a second.
Yeah. Right. They didn't know. And then, you know, the first few is a little shaky, but once you get to round 2 of high five and everybody's got it. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, did I get this guy? Yo. And then somebody else will be running back from the bathroom or so. Boom. It's like, did you wash your hands, bro? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's going to be the new normal after.
I don't care. We just scored.
Yeah. I mean, there have been times like when we scored in like overtime where you're hugging people next to you like that you don't know. You're just bear hugging people.
It's like Brandon has been hugging this 96-year-old man for 15 minutes. I don't know if he knows that it's not me.
Hell, I remember at the Calgary game when we scored with like 0.1 seconds left.
Dude,
I sprinted because I was in the bath. I was walking back from the bathroom when that happened. And I sprinted and we bear hugged and I was high-fiving people.
I'd already hugged like 3 people by that point. Yeah, man. I mean, yes, obviously that kind of really ties into the camaraderie. So my number 3 is, and it's sort of directed at Preds games, but this is really any level of sports at any, mostly professional, but you know, I'm not above doing it anywhere. Telling grown men that they suck when they're playing at the highest possible level that anybody, as far as NHL goalies, there's 62 of these guys that are 62 in the entire United States, and just chanting at them that they're garbage and they suck.
Well, North America, but yeah.
I'm talking to, sure. So sorry. This is an American podcast,
We got a couple Manitoba listeners.
This American podcast, buddy. But just being able to be a regular guy, working schmo, being able to tell a guy that could crush you with his right hand and his eyes closed and his left hand tied behind his back, just telling him that he is the worst piece of garbage that has ever graced the face of the earth. And I would, and it's not like what people always, well, you never say that to their face. There's a big thing of glass in front of us, bro. Like, that's part of the game. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Yeah. Okay. That's more of my thing. And just, it's all in good fun. Like, you grow up with sports and trash talking, man. I love to trash talk. And so especially the you suck chant at Preds game, some goalies really, really, really don't like it. And you can tell, and they play that way. And some goalies get into it and they like it. You know, they really enjoy you telling them, you know, this guy that is making, you know, 40, 50, 60 grand a year.
Yeah.
When he made this game, just
Vasilevsky is one of the goalies you can tell. Preds fans get.
Well, he's young too. Yeah. You can always tell that
like the first couple times, like you're saying that, and you see him, the moment you know you got him, when you see them start like do the up and down look to the left and right. Robin Leonard keeps a straight, like you tell, we don't get in his head.
Yeah.
He's got so, like, he deals with his issues. And so he's like, that's the least of my problems right now.
Right. I'm making it through another day right here, buddy. I'm not too, Marc-Andre Fleury. He handles it so well.
He's ice cold.
And it's honestly, it's the exact opposite. Like, I still to this day, people do not realize, and this is a lot of people, that when you let something bother you everybody knows about it and they're going to hit you that much harder. And so like, it's not even as fun to the guy that plays better after he gets scored on.
Jake Allen is one of those guys, you
just loves it. Just come on, bring it. And, and that's the fun part of sports because.
And it's usually young guys.
Yeah, the young guys. I mean, you got to remember, some of these guys are 19, 20, 21 years old. Like us at 21, we would have been hot too, I mean, because you're already hot.
Jordan Bennington, when we won, like you could tell we got under his skin. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we scored 3 straight goals to come back on him. So no biggie. You're not going to talk about that. I left that game. It's no biggie.
But all right. So my number 3, that is, and something that it fuels this show, arguing about sports. Like,
Bobby, this doesn't deserve to be on the top 5, man.
So there was a difference between we have discussions about sports, but right now, because of the state of everything, unfortunately, arguing about current sports turns into arguing about politics.
Yeah.
But when sports are back, you can argue. There's just so much to argue about, especially with fantasy sports. You're like, oh, who's better, this guy or that guy? Which goalie should start?
Yeah.
It was the PK trade. I mean, there's a lot of things. And it's really not. It's less arguing and more just like opinions.
It's like, right. You're yelling. It's the one thing that. Most of the time when I discuss things with people, I've got a question for you. What am I going to be able to say to change your mind? If the answer to that is nothing, I don't want to have this discussion with you. But when it comes to sports, dude, you're just taking and not the worst necessarily, but like the biggest arguments that people get in, and I've been a part of, and is who's better, Michael or LeBron? Like, there is literally no answer because like there's see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it is my answer. I agree. But like realistically, like everybody has valid points, but like I've seen grown men say that's stupid. You're stupid. Just thinking that one guy's better than the other. And so that is fun because there is no real answer to these questions.
And it's Wayne Gretzky. Yeah.
Well, right. But like if you're arguing that, you're a freaking idiot, dude. If you're arguing against Wayne Gretzky, you're an idiot. And see, there it goes. Like that wasn't even planned. You get passionate about this kind of stuff. And because it doesn't actually matter. That's the thing. I enjoy arguing with you because at the end of the day, LeBron's better than Michael. Yeah. Michael's better than LeBron. It was a fun discussion that we got to argue out, and neither of us are ever going to change each other's minds, but it doesn't matter that we're not because it's sports.
And what's great about that is that there's a lot of things like if you're arguing about politics, that can end friendships, that can end relationships. Arguing over sports won't or shouldn't end relationships. Like,
and if it does,
and if it doesn't, that person shouldn't have been there.
Perfect.
If someone stops being your friend because they truly think that LeBron is better than Michael, then they were never your friend. But like, whereas arguing about politics and other lifestyle stuff, cultural stuff, that stuff, I mean, that's real. It's real.
It has
meaningful impact.
Right. And so like, you don't feel that somebody is seeing your point or they're not willing to actually discuss it or come in with an open mind. I don't want to use the phrase it hurts your feelings, but it like kind of shows you what kind of person they are. Some of the best, I discuss lots of things with lots of people. And at the end of the conversation, we just want to get our points heard. So I want to discuss real things with you. I want to argue about sports with you.
Yeah.
Great answer, man. Great answer.
So why don't you take us into your number 2?
Number 2 is pretty much the same as your number 2. So we can kind of just talk about this together. Except for I threw my little caveat in there. Obviously, beer, dude. What a better time to drink a beer than a sporting event.
Nothing tastes better than a $9 beer.
Yeah. There's some things, but no,
but
it's more,
beer.
It's like, I don't want to pay. Obviously we talked about beer prices and being ridiculous or whatever. There is no other thing on earth that I would go and like pay $10 for a beer, except for if I'm watching a little live sports, man. And it turns into, oh, you're going to buy I'm just going to have a beer or a couple beers. $4,500 later, you are having such a good time. So I threw in there popcorn too, man. I love popcorn for a sporting event. It's filling enough to be, filling, but it just gives me something to do. So I don't feel like I need to go eat, because I'm going to be, my legs are shaking. I'm, restless leg syndrome type of deal, and just antsy and ready. It gives me something to put my hand on, and so I love popcorn at a sporting event. And it's one of the few things that's not ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah. Like for me at sporting events, it's hot dogs too.
Yeah,
like
hot dogs are great.
Like something just hits different. Like you get a ballpark Frank and some stuff at home in a microwave. It's different than when it hits differently at a game.
Yeah, and it's
especially in the all inclusive zone where my seats are. Those mini hot dogs, those are good.
Dope. But I actually I prefer a hot dog that's been in the foil wrapping. The way that it moistens the bun. And first of all, I'm a hot dog, what I like to call a hot dog purist. I don't really know if that's a thing, but maybe
have
some
you met
relish
the internet?
sometime.
Of course it is. There's probably a whole Reddit to it.
Maybe some relish sometime. Maybe some, definitely some mustard. But especially if we're just walking around, or it's one of the guys walking around selling hot dogs, dude, I'd prefer to actually have nothing on my hot dog. If it's done right, I will take mustard. Ketchup is a wrong answer on a hot dog.
A hot dog Reddit page.
Okay. So yeah. So see, but I mean, when we get them at the all-inclusive zone, then it's more, you got to fancy them up, put some sauerkraut on them, maybe put some chili on them. And I get that. But there's something about buying a hot dog from a vendor walking around.
Just some mustard on it. Yeah.
Mustard, maybe, but just nothing sometimes. If they're done right, a good stadium dog is like no other to me.
But yeah, so I mean, we're spoiled with the all-inclusive zone because we get like Labatt's or sometimes some just Bud Light.
Oh yeah, sure.
But yeah, so moving into number one. Why don't you give us your number one?
I feel like I told you that this was kind of a cop out, but it's just really not to me, because if people know me, they'll say, yeah, that's the actual event itself, the fanfare, the actual the fanfare about it, but the actual sport. I love sports so much. I will watch it any day of the week. And almost any sport, I can sit down and enjoy it. But just actually being there at a sporting event, and even times that I go to a game and, I got stuff to do the next day, or I'm driving or whatever, and I maybe have one beer early on in the game, I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat, just loving every second of that sporting event, because it's just fun to me. There's a reason we got into this, and it's truly my deep love for sports. And so to go to a live sporting event and get to experience what I love so much, there in person, and you feel like you're a part of it, that has to be it for me, man. I know that sounds like it's kind of a cop out, but it's just, I think it's me. I think that's the right answer for me. What about you?
Yeah, dude, that is, and I'm going to start specific and then get general. That is Let It Be for the Preds. As a Preds fan, I get goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about when they're challenging a call, and everyone has their phone out and singing "Let It Be" by the Beatles.
It is such a great,
and it just builds up to right when it stops, and there's that second where the ref comes out and he's about to tell you, and it's even better. And now it can go one of two ways. It's either the most depressing moment when it goes against you, or when he says the goal stands.
Right.
Oh, because then you get it all over again. You get double the excitement, double the high fives, everything. It's just so, and I love that every hockey team acts like when they get a goal stand, they act like you just scored another goal.
It was such a It was such a good plan to bring this into play. And the first time, I think we were there the first time they did it. And
everyone loved it.
They turned off all the lights and stuff, and then they told them you can't turn the lights off anymore to do this.
Like they're trying to watch a video, and you've got everyone.
It is awesome, but I think you're gonna kind of carry that into something.
And that
else.
is, every arena has, and hockey, not just hockey arenas. Every stadium has their own thing that they do. Some just do kind of very basic, Sweet Caroline. But some have really cool traditions. And we talked about sport traditions last week.
Yeah.
Teams do really cool things that, I remember growing up going to, I guess, RFK Stadium, then FedEx Field for the Redskins, like doing Hail to the Redskins as the Redskins had their own marching band. You had the Hogettes, and it was, just everything was such a cool experience.
Right.
Especially when you have DC fans are a lot like college football fans.
Yeah.
And they just,
because they've never seen any good college football.
Well, the Terps have 3 national championships, so let's back off a little bit. It's just seeing like the entire arena doing something that's not the Wave, because that's we'll have a whole episode about how bad the Wave is.
It'll just be called No Go on the Wave.
Yeah. But it's just so cool, dude. Just the camaraderie, everyone in unison doing stuff. But yeah, so that's I think that wraps up. I do have an honorable mention. I don't know if you do, and that's comebacks. There's not much better than seeing a sports comeback in favor of your team in person.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
I think that. Yeah,
because that hypes you up like for the entire night. Like you talk about it for days. It is such an endorphin rush that it's awesome.
Yeah, I would say that kind of going in with the comeback thing. Just being able to talk about it. Hey, I was at that game and they came back. Mine is just being able to, when you're there for something that almost everybody remembers.
Yeah.
And
everyone's going to remember when we beat the Flames in the last second.
When always being able to bring up, I was there, being able to say I was actually there. And so
even if it's negative, like Blackhawks fans are going to be able to say we were there when Pekka scored on us.
Yeah, and they'll be able to say that. They probably won't, but they will be able to if they
head.
Wanted to. Yeah. So just being able to be, think about that guy again, bringing up Malice in the Palace. Think about that dude that took a shot from Ron Artest.
Yeah,
forever, he'll be able to say, I was that guy.
Yeah.
That was me. I was there. So I think that we are done with with what we miss about live sports and sports. So we got a really good interview.
Before we do that, we want to hear from you, the fans, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Reach out. Tell us what you miss the most.
Yeah.
And
what did we miss?
We'll select a couple and we'll read them on air and you'll get a shout out. But now we've got a really awesome interview coming up with Brock McGillis. He talks about being a member of the LGBTQ plus community in hockey and in life. He tells us some new shows that he's working on. So here's that interview. All right, guys, coming up, we've got creator of This Is Shit on WoW Presents, LGBTQ plus advocate, motivational speaker, former OHL goaltender, and the first professional hockey player to come out as gay, Brock McGillis. How you doing today, Brock?
I'm great. How are you?
We're doing well. We're in quarantine right now. How's quarantine life treating you?
Oh gosh, it's a lot. It's kind of tough, but it is what it is, right? We got to do it. And just trying to get by. I live in a condo in Toronto, so it's not as much space as, say, if I was in the suburbs. So it's a little crazy, but I found my stairwell, and I run up and down the stairs there, and I have some weights in my place. So I get some workouts in like twice a day just to keep my mind sane.
Awesome. So just to start off, what got you into hockey? What was your first, hockey memory that made you a fan of the sport and as a player?
I grew up a very stereotypical Canadian story. I grew up on the ice. I lived down the street from an arena in a small town in northern Ontario, and my dad was friends with the arena manager, so I could sneak on whenever I want, and the major city nearby would come practice in the town because ice was cheaper. So I would go to the rink in the morning, and if any team was short goalie, I would jump on the ice with them. To depend, I was probably skating like 15 times a week, and my parents would drop off my meals at the arena. And it wasn't even that much of me. They weren't there. I was just so obsessed with it. I just had a love for it. It was in my blood. Both sides of my family were huge hockey families, and I had relatives play professionally on both sides. My brother played, he was a first round pick in the OHL, played pro. I have cousins that played in the O, and it was just ingrained in me.
That's awesome. Obviously, us living most of our lives in Tennessee, that's not something, we don't have a lot of folks that grow up on the ice because that's not as available. Not as much. We are growing. The Predators are definitely pumping a lot of money into the community and getting more ice rinks and things. So that's good.
Awesome.
What was the experience? What was the experience in the league like before coming out and then after coming out?
Well, I struggled a lot when I was closeted. I struggled a lot through my teens, especially when you start to hit puberty and you're in your teenage years and your hormones are raging and everything else. And I struggled with this duality. I mean, hockey, especially in Canada, is so ingrained in our culture, right? And young hockey players, teenage hockey players are basically celebrities. Yeah. You're treated like I equate like an OHL or major junior hockey player to be the same as like a YouTube influencer or Instagram influencer, where you're kind of famous and you're known, but like you're not a movie star.
Right.
Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, these guys are like Brad Pitt, right?
Right.
And in the OHL level, you're famous, but you're still accessible. So everyone kind of knows you, but you still have fame, and people can come and talk to you, and they can engage with you. So it's almost more influential, and it's almost more difficult because your whole identity is based off the sport. People come up to you and they talk to you, and they talk to you about hockey.
Right.
And so my identity was Brock McGillis, hockey player, and because of language I heard in locker rooms, on the ice, school, parties, wherever, I didn't think you could play hockey and be gay.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision and decide whether I was going to be a hockey player or be gay. And I identified as a hockey player, so I hid the other thing. I refused to believe it was true.
Wow. So while you were playing, did you have any allies or anyone you could confide in, while you were still in the closet, to make your life easier at all? Well,
through my teenage years, I didn't tell a soul and I didn't act on it. I dated women. I was actually, and I'm ashamed to admit this today, I became like the stereotype of what you hear hockey players are. And I became a womanizer and had tons of women on the go at all times. And then finally, when I was 23, I was, my career derailed. I went from being on NHL draft lists and supposed to have this, linear trajectory to the NHL and have this long pro career. And I was incredibly depressed. In my teens, I was suicidal. By the age of 18, I was drinking every day and I was constantly injured. So my career derailed, and I think I drank every day from the age of 18 to 23. And then finally at 23, I was playing in the minors in Europe, and I sat myself down and I said, you need to figure this out. So I knew two things were going to happen. My career was about to end, and two, I was likely to end up dead. So that's when I started dating men to try and figure it out. And I took a step back from hockey, and I went and played Canadian University hockey and focused on school in Montreal. And when I was there, Brendan Burke came out, and Brendan is the son of Brian Burke, who at the time was running the Leafs, then went on to the Calgary Flames. Now he works for Sportsnet.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Brendan, and we instantly became friends, and that was the only person in my life who knew.
Did you find that being a goalie was different for your, did it change your experience at all rather than, maybe if you were a forward or a D-man?
I think it's, there's a lot of stereotypes towards goalies to begin with, that they're a little flaky or different, and you spend so much time alone.
Right.
Like you're alone for 60 minutes during the game, and it's just you and your thoughts. And I think at points it probably led me to, be in my thoughts more away from the rink. just because it becomes your habit. You're just, you become analytical and you start to think a lot. And so I would dwell a lot on my struggles, but it also, I didn't have to deal with anyone else. So when I got on the ice, I didn't have to worry about my D partner or my line mates or anything else besides stopping the puck. And I could kind of let go of everything in my life and just focus on the game itself. And it was the only time in my life where I felt free, where I felt at ease. It was my happy place.
That's awesome. So, we want to lighten it up a little bit. During this quarantine, do you have what is your go-to lockdown snack that is always there, that, maybe it's a cheat day or something like that?
Oh my God. So, okay. I've been still like filming a few things. So, and right before the quarantine started, I was supposed to head out to LA to film season 2 of my show. And then this happened. I didn't know how long it would last, but I loaded up on groceries, and within 3 days, I ate everything. Like legit, I haven't stopped, and so finally, I've cut myself down to once a week. And I think Friday I ate a bag of chips, 2 bags of popcorn, Oreos, and I don't think I put a healthy thing in my body the whole damn day.
Well, hey, but it's for the human race, though. We're supposed to stay in. We're supposed to stay away from people. You're doing it for your country, man.
Yeah. There's gonna be no shirtless photos on Instagram for a while. Let's just say that.
You can just say, "Oh, it's cold up here in Canada." That's why.
Yeah.
So
4 layers and 3 filters just to get a selfie.
So back in your playing days, and even now, do you have any? Did you have any weird pregame rituals? Maybe a meal that you would have to have before every game?
I used to have chicken and pasta before every game. I took the same route to the rink, no matter where I played. I had some weird OCD goalie things. I would have to listen to the same 3 songs, or the last 3 songs I would listen to before the game. And on the ice, I sang the same song in my head. I had the same thing I would say to myself between face-offs, between whistles, and then I sang the same song in my head. From the age of 10 years old, I watched a movie, and it was that night the song from the movie got stuck in my head, and I got a shutout. So I kept the same song from the age of 10 until 28 years old when I stopped playing.
Well, sports fans are crazy and ritualistic, so that makes sense. Now I have a follow-up question on your answer. You said you took the same route to the stadium every time you went, no matter where you played. So was it like before you ever took the actual official first route, did you test a couple routes first? Did you, I gotta see which way's the best way, or did just the first way you ever took to the stadium is the way you took every time?
You know what? I think it was just once you have a good night, you just keep flowing with it, right?
Okay.
So it was just, I took away and had a good game, and then it was like, okay, this is the way.
This is my way to go.
And I sit in the car, and then I would have to listen. I would try and time the songs based off where I was, so that when I got to the rink, the last song that played in the car was one of those, the third of those 3 songs each time. So I left my car playing the same song.
That's funny.
So how active are you still in the sport? Are you playing men's league? Are you coaching?
Well, after I came out, before I came out, after I retired, I started a business in Northern Ontario where I was working with about 100 players daily, from major junior players down to Adam kids. So I was doing off-ice training, on-ice skill development, and goalie training as well. And I was doing that I did that for about 7 years. And I actually wasn't even out yet. And then I came to find out that these kids, and they were part of the reason why I came out, they knew I was gay in Northern Ontario, which is, there's not a ton of exposure to the LGBTQ plus, probably like Tennessee, right?
Oh yeah,
You're not in like the like maybe in Nashville, there's probably more of an LGBT base, but like you go outside of that and there's probably less, right?
Definitely.
So it was kind of like that, and I found out that they knew I was gay and chose to work with me, these macho hockey bros, and I thought, how cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I stayed coaching them and training them for years. But then associations started finding out I was gay and started blackballing me.
Wow.
They wouldn't let me work with their players. Associations I grew up playing in, associations that my dad coached in for 30 years, my brother played in and coached in, and they wouldn't let me work with their players. So I slowly started to get out of the coaching, and it just so happened that I had come out publicly right after that, kind of almost as a screw you to those people. It was part of it.
I'm going to be who I am.
And a couple other things like that summer. Pulse happened in Orlando where there was a massacre at a gay bar, and it was just time. So I came out publicly, and I started getting calls to speak, and I started getting calls to do advocacy, and before I knew it, it became a full-time job. And now I travel the world with it, so it was like, well, I'm not being fair to these kids, and I can't live in Northern Ontario and travel the world. It was just it was too much. So now I'm done. I've gone out of the hockey game almost completely. More now. I'm just a voice within it, and I do I consult for some. Like I've done some work with USA Hockey, some stuff with the NHL, and things like that.
Right. So as someone in the LGBTQ plus community, obviously once a month, the NHL does Hockey is for Everyone. And, you have some clubs that do more than others. You have some clubs that actually do advocacy, and you have some clubs, unfortunately, like the Preds here in Nashville, they just throw a rainbow flag on some stuff and call it a day. What would you like to see as someone who's in that community see these clubs do to help the outreach program to, kind of open it up for everybody?
So the way I see it, and I got in a little slack because I called Hockey's for Everyone garbage in McLean, which is like Time Magazine of Canada. So I equate it to having the Stanley Cup parade before winning the championship.
Yeah, fair.
It's kind of fake.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I would much...
To sell it's attempting to sell something that you're not actually providing any advancement on, or have no reason to push it.
I think it's pandering to a community, and you're selling merchandise and making money.
Yeah, right? That's how I've always seen it.
And you're trying to influence a group of people to start buying tickets to your sport, but you're not doing any work to make that sport a good place for them. And there's people at the NHL like Kim Davis and Patrick Burke, and there's some really great people there who want to create change, and I have no doubt. But I'd rather see, do the work first.
Right.
It's like a macro banner without doing the micro work. I'd rather see educational programs in minor hockey.
Mentoring programs.
It starts at 7 years old. The homophobia in the sport, the language, everything else starts with kids. And then these kids keep using that, and they're coached by ex-players, and it becomes this vicious cycle, and they keep using that language all the way up until they reach the NHL, and it's this cycle that then, even if they don't reach, but they play decent levels and get back into coaching, they just recycle the same words, the same behaviors, the same actions and attitudes, and nothing changes.
Well, and
it's why so many people quit the sport.
And also,
so I would much rather see them stop the campaign, do the actual fundamental work, and then celebrate it after.
Absolutely, I can 100% agree with that. That's a powerful message, and what you're doing for kids in this sport, and even potentially adults is very commendable, and we're really appreciative to have you on. So do you want to tell
Do
you want to tell the fans a little bit more about This Is Shit? Give us a quick rundown, your elevator pitch, if you will.
Yeah, so there's two main things I'm doing right now. One of them is This Is Shit, which is a show with World of Wonder who does RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. And it's myself and a drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race, Mrs. Kasha Davis. And essentially it's, we all deal with stuff. We all stress or have struggles and whatnot. And when we do, we think we're the only ones in the world. We think our problems are the worst problems and we're the only ones struggling. And the reality is everyone's dealing with shit. So This Is Shit is us sharing our shit and bringing people on to share theirs. So hopefully it minimizes the power of our struggles have over us. Because, then when you see other people that have the same problems and the same struggles, then it gives it less weight and less power over you because you can get through it because other people have. And then other than that, I travel around. I speak at corporations, events, colleges, universities, high schools, elementary schools all over North America, and I've done some work in Europe. And I want to continue to grow that and try and get everywhere and create social shifts and make the world a better place for everyone, not just LGBTQ plus people, but anyone who's struggling. I have a saying I live by, and it's normal doesn't exist. It's a fallacy. It's an illusion. We are all a bunch of weirdos, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And when you realize that, you're less likely to judge somebody else for their differences because you realize you're a weirdo too in your own way.
Well, that's a powerful message, man. And like we said, we appreciate you coming on, but we not only deal with hockey and sports and all that good stuff, we get into pop culture. So Marvel or Star Wars, if you had to choose right now?
Marvel.
Okay. And so follow-up question to that, who's your favorite Marvel character?
Ooh.
We're hard-hitting questions here, man. Hard-hitting questions here.
I'm going to have to go with maybe Spider-Man.
Okay.
Oh, solid.
Solid choice. Solid choice. What do you think of Tom Holland as Spider-Man? Pro or against?
Yeah, I'm into it.
Awesome.
What do you think?
I think that I used to be a big Tobey Maguire truther as a Spider-Man fan, and I didn't think that there was going to be anybody else that I liked in it. I wasn't a fan when James Garfield took it over, but when Tom Holland entered the Marvelverse, he was a great addition. He's a perfect character for Spider-Man in my mind, where he's nerdy enough, but he's still young looking enough to play a great Spider-Man. So I agree.
Have you guys seen the alleged Tobey Maguire stuff? You ever seen the movie Molly's Game?
I haven't.
I haven't either.
Oh, you got to see it. It's this ex-professional skier, and she turned into this card shark. She was an Olympian or close to the Olympics. And Tobey Maguire, like controls all the underground like celebrity poker games in LA, and apparently he's a huge dick.
Wow. Okay.
You gotta watch it.
I'm looking at the cast right now. It's got Jessica Chastain, Idris Elba.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll definitely check this out.
We're big Idris Elba fans on this pod, so that's awesome. Well, thanks for the tip.
Yeah, Michael Cera plays Player X, and allegedly from the book, that's Tobey Maguire.
Oh. Well, yeah, we're definitely excited.
Yeah,
we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, watch that. It was wild. I watched it 2 nights ago.
All right.
So yeah, it's really good.
But all right, Brock, thanks for joining us, everyone. This has been Brock McGillis, creator of This Is Shit on WoW Presents, advocate, motivational speaker, and former OHL goaltender. Brock, it's been great having you on, and we hope to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and hopefully I get to Tennessee and I can pop by and come on live.
Please do, man. Let us know, buddy. Thanks a lot, Brock. We appreciate you, man.
All right.
Stay safe out there.
Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, guys. Welcome back. What an awesome interview. But now we got a new drop for Joke of the Week.
The weird, Corey Perry. See, I don't like that. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish. Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister. And downright dumb.
You're kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
All right, so this week, Brandon, you found us this joke of the week. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this week?
I don't know if we've done it yet, but we're finally headed down to Florida. We got us a Florida man, Bobby.
I guarantee we've done some Florida and all the craziness that we've talked about. We've talked about Florida once or twice.
Well, we drink beer on this podcast, so I can't confirm or deny that. A Florida man with a machete tattoo on his face accused of a machete attack. I feel like realistically, we're not about victim shaming on this show. But you should have saw that coming, buddy. I mean, he gave you all the opportunity in the world to see that he had a machete on his face. Florida, man. What the? Who decides, hey, I'm going to get a machete tattooed on my face? And then he's like, that's also my weapon of choice. You're going to be so easily identifiable, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, pretty wild. I'm just kind of reading the article right now. The guy, they asked him about getting hit with the machete, and he's like, well, felt a lot of pain, then I passed out. Well, yeah, but that's what happens when you get hit with a sword.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like it's an interesting photo. It's from the Orlando Sentinel.
What placement?
What
placement for a tattoo?
Yeah, it's like we're talking about like it looks like eye black.
Yeah.
What?
His high school mascot was the Machetes, and he was loyal.
He was really school spirited, just like myself.
And he realized halfway through getting the new eye black that maybe not the best idea.
The victim told authorities he swung the machete at my face in order to block the strike. I placed my left arm in front of my face, and the victim's left forearm was struck with the blade of the machete. So he was trying to give him like a machete-shaped scar under his eye. What a joke, Florida. I mean, you always outdo yourself, don't you? The argument reportedly started in ways that all Florida arguments start. The victim did not want to let Mr. Couch into his home for unknown reasons. And we all know what unknown reasons are. Drugs are definitely it, right? This is 100%. Like, again, we're not here to victim shame, but like you're interacting with this guy and then either you didn't know him and you opened the door, or you did know him and caught a machete to the face, like
to the arm.
For however long you've known this cat, he's had a machete on his face.
Do you think that guy, like, he can only carry a machete now? Like, that's the only thing he carries now. Like, he wants to work with other weapons, but he's like, oh, that's my thing now, man.
But I mean, he's got another eye, is all I gotta say about it. Like,
if you're smart, he'd get a gun tattoo.
Yeah, I mean,
then he's allowed to use guns.
Well, see,
that's how the law works in Florida.
I feel like while I hear what you're saying, and it would probably be better, guys that like get machete tattoos and then like wield machetes. No, bro, he's going to get like a Morning Star tattoo. Like, that would be dope. I mean, that's a great story to tell that he's going to have in prison. Like, what'd you do? Try to stab a guy with a machete? Like, yeah, pretty much. Saw that coming. Yeah, saw that coming from a mile away. What a joke you are, Florida.
All right, so we are finally getting to the next part of our X-Men discussion. We did our
homework.
Yeah, we actually did our homework. Thanks for bearing with us.
Watching movies. That's all we had to do. Most people have to like research and write articles and stuff and get all this stuff out. We literally had to watch 3 movies and it took us 3 weeks to do it, but we're here. We made it.
Yeah.
You know?
So we're going over Deadpool, Logan, and Deadpool 2. For Deadpool 2, we watched the Super Duper edition, which is the unrated version. So what did you think? What was your favorite of the 3?
Tough to pick a favorite of the 3, honestly. I think that they were all great for different reasons to me. Logan probably was the best for like closing out an entire story. You know, I mean, Deadpool's cool and it's in the X-Men universe, and, you know, he brings up Wolverine and talks about it. And there's other X-Men there, obviously. But just like, even if you exclude Deadpool and Deadpool 2, we had 9 other movies that we've watched and discussed, Bobby.
Yeah.
And so just a closing out of that, and besides the fact that Hugh Jackman is awesome.
Yeah.
He was so awesome. He was such a good Wolverine. Logan was sad though, dude.
Yeah.
It was sad. It's not a movie that I want to watch again, really. Like, you know, I may at some point watch it again. But it's not like a Days of Future Past where you're like, I really am just excited to watch that again. You know, Logan was super sad, but Deadpool and Deadpool 2 were just kind of like changes to the world. You know, it gave you some of the mutant stuff, and you do get to see some of the other X-Men. But I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite. They weren't really 3 that paired together that I could just give it a 1, 2, 3 because they were so different. But I would say probably have to be Deadpool 2, I guess, if we're saying like, which would you watch again?
So I like Deadpool 1 more than Deadpool. Deadpool 2 was great. Both Deadpools are great. I like number 1 more than number 2.
Yeah.
I felt that it flowed better. It didn't, like you said before the show, it didn't, like Deadpool 2 tried really hard.
Yes.
To
agreed.
Keep with the Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool 1 was just so natural.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was one thing. If I had critiques on the Deadpool movies, it was that everything had to be a joke.
Yeah.
You're already way different than every other movie if you don't make every scene have to be an absolute joke. But Ryan Reynolds did such a good job, and I really like him as an actor, and I really enjoyed how he made fun of himself throughout the films.
Oh, yeah.
And
did you watch the after credit scenes in Deadpool?
Yeah, of course. So just such a good 3 movies that were all 3 of them so different than what we had seen before. I'm really excited to get more into X-Force and X-23. I'll tell you what I didn't understand though in the Deadpools. When did Colossus become German or whatever? Russian. He was in the first movies. It was some teenage kid that was not Russian.
Well, it's a different universe. Remember, Deadpool's in a different universe, which I'm going to get into in a second. It's a completely different universe. They don't even exist within the same timeline, really. Well, same timeline, and that's actually what I'm going to talk about because they did because they break the fourth wall in Deadpool. They do have that's why this Deadpool, they can't bring it into the MCU correctly because they've already done so much to break the fourth wall, which I'm actually going to talk about. Like, how can they bring Deadpool in? And that's, the multiverse. Doctor Strange could probably go open the multiverse, which they've actually talked about in the MCU is the multiverse, or Ant-Man can go into the quantum zone or whatever it's called. And maybe like he accidentally goes in too far and ends up in Deadpool's universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
where did it say that it wasn't in the same universe? Because
the directors, like when it came out, they specifically said, the writer said, this is not in the same universe. Don't expect to see
people are not supposed to, just know what the director said. Like I feel like you got to throw me like a little bone, just like a little bit before the movie. No, but
with stuff like this, when you can clearly see that these are different actors playing people. And the fact that he's breaking the fourth wall so many times, like that doesn't match up with the MCU.
Yeah, but I felt like that was more it doesn't match up with the MCU, but it matches up with this character. And so it's like almost like he's just telling a story. That was more what it was like to me. Like that doesn't really upset me if it was in the same universe.
Like my hope is that like Ant-Man brings him to the MCU and like he's constantly like, because he lives in a universe where he's being like he's on film, and so he's constantly looking around, like he looks at the camera to break the fourth wall, and like Spider-Man's like, who are you talking to? There's nobody there.
It more seemed to me like it was just like an inner monologue, like he was just monologuing the story type of deal.
That would be cool too. Yeah,
because that's the kind of person that he was and is, and
mentally unstable person.
Yeah, exactly. And so,
which in the comics, he's the procedure that gave him his powers scrambled his brain, and he is so crazy.
So that's why it made sense to me. Yeah. He was already kind of a crazy guy as is.
Yeah. I think even in the movies, like he's having that, and someone else was like, they're like, who are you talking to? I think maybe like the teenage whatever
Negasonic.
Yeah, it was like, who are you talking to? And he's like, oh, never mind, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So they already kind of played it up to be that.
But yeah, it's definitely in a different. They've already said like I think they planned originally this was going to be like they didn't know how Deadpool was going to work because they specifically it had to be R. To be in the MCU, it couldn't be R because they couldn't tie it in. So now they might say, all right, let's.
And then they're like, Logan, welcome to the show, buddy. You're welcome.
Yeah.
You know, like,
but yeah, I mean, in the scene in 2 where he's like, oh, were you the only X-Men they could afford? And they kind of cut and you see like the actual actors playing and they close the door.
Yeah. Beast.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy the actress and the back and forth between Negasonic, Teenage Warhead, and Deadpool, though.
Yeah.
She was so funny when he was like, that part when he was like, oh, you're a teenage girl. There's only 2 things that can happen here. Long sullen silence or mean comments.
And she's like, you got me.
Which is it going to be? She said, you really got me pinned into a box here. Yeah. It was so funny.
I love when he's like, bye, Yukio. Hi, Yukio.
Yeah. Hi, Wade. Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And Juggernaut's awesome. We talked about Juggernaut being there.
Yeah. He's so dope.
Cable coming back. Actually,
he calls him Thanos multiple times, which I love.
And for those of you that don't know, Cable is
Josh Brolin.
Well, no, but I'm saying yes. I'm not arguing that fact, but it's Cyclops' son is Cable. Yeah, it's Ryan Summers.
Sorry. Yeah, Cyclops' son. I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, so I mean that's really cool. So one thing we were going to talk about on the doc is should Deadpool come into the MCU? Is that something you would want to see?
Yeah.
Or do you like it as a standalone?
Right. No, I'm always for some collaboration type of deal. If you do it right and you don't oversell it, like
you can't just pop up. I don't want to see them do it with a different actor. Like, and then you've got like 2 Deadpools owned by Marvel, and then it's like a whole thing.
MCU to me they did so good of tying everything together.
Yeah.
You know, that was the biggest thing for me was that they did a really good job of like letting you know that this is in the same universe, but keeping the movies on track.
I mean, they could even do it where because in the comics, there's a comic, like I've actually started reading it's Deadpool and Cable. Like they are partners. So maybe Cable messes around with time travel too much and he jumps universes, jumps dimensions, and they wind up there.
Yeah.
They do a movie. Then they're like, all right, we found a way back. So they can go back to doing R-rated Deadpool movies when they go back.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I also really, really liked, and not only the character itself, but the actress that played her, Domino, dude.
Yeah,
that was so dope. Good. And the actress who plays Van in Atlanta, she is a really good actress, and I hope to see her in more things. But Domino is, you know, being lucky isn't a real superpower, but like they kind of show you how it is. They kind of show you how it is, and like my man Terry Crews. Can't believe he died.
How about my boy Brad Pitt?
True. Didn't even think about old BP, dude. Yeah. Yeah, but it was done so well. I really enjoyed all 3 movies, and excited to kind of see what they can do from here.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the next step. I think maybe next week we'll figure out something to talk about.
We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we'll probably do one more discussion on X-Men and then move on. Maybe it's a Battle Royale draft. We'll figure it. Yeah,
not a bad idea.
We'll have some rules because obviously Dark Phoenix and
Magneto should just be out.
Yeah,
you know, that'll be too ridiculous of a battle. So. All right, so I think we're going to go to questions from the internet.
Yeah. All right, so we've got one today. If you were a professional athlete about to hit the peak of your career and you won the Powerball, would you keep playing or take your winnings and retire?
I think there's a number of things that would depend for me.
Yeah. The amount of the Powerball.
How high level of an athlete am I? You know, am I one of the top guys, or am I just catching, you know, minimum salary, which is not scrub money by any means, but it's most certainly not Powerball money.
Yeah.
Number 2, it would be what sport am I playing? Because if I'm playing baseball, you can play baseball till you're 95, dude. It ain't no thing. Playing football, dude, I'm retired in a heartbeat. I don't care how close I am to records, how high in the sport I am. I'm retiring, dude, because I want to enjoy this money and not have to CTE out, so I think that it would depend. The peak of your career. Yeah. I mean, I would probably keep playing sports, but just, kind of be more of a role guy,
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd take Powerball and run.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the size of the Powerball.
Sure. Right.
I mean, if it's a $2 million Powerball and you got to pay taxes on that, then no, I'm not 1.3 million. Yeah.
I was thinking like 300 mil,
Yeah.
So
I think the question is either choice you make, you're set up for life, I think.
Yeah,
so the question is, are you going to be set up for life and play the game you love, or be set up in life and retire pretty much?
Yeah. But you could also, while being set up for life, you could ruin your whole life if you continue to play.
Yeah.
It's only one broken leg until like your whole life is different from that point forward. I don't know, man.
I'm leaning towards Powerball.
Yeah, I'm probably going to retire for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's retire. Let's go to a beach, and then we'll start a little like adult league, and then we'll dominate in that,
Yeah. But all right, so let's move on to this or that, which we've got a new drop for.
Time to cast your vote. Vote your cast. Choose your pick. Pick your choice. Make a decision and take a side for this or that.
All right. So this week we've got your fly is always down, or your shoes are always just a bit damp.
Fly always down, no question.
So let's talk about it for a second.
Okay.
Fly always down. So you're risking your junk just flopping out at times when you're in public, which could mean
don't act like you're not impressed,
which could come with its own set of circumstances.
Sure.
Listen, I'm with you right now, but I'm just
you want to make it a thing.
Yeah.
You're the one that put it on the dock, bro.
Yeah.
Like the easiest question we've had. First of all, if I'm going out in public, I'll just make sure I have some dope boxers. So, maybe I don't, catch a charge or something. But dude, you're basically asking literally one thing that's like not that big of a deal, kind of embarrassing if you get embarrassed kind of thing, as opposed to like the worst thing that I've ever heard of in my entire life. Like damp shoes, damp socks.
They're not like squishy. They're just like just a little bit damp.
Are they damp?
Yeah.
Then I'm not interested in that at all.
So I guess when I wrote this, I was thinking like, all right, your wedding pictures, your flies down, your wedding pictures.
Yeah,
you're at a training seminar and you're on stage, your flies down.
You forgot though that it's me. And look, man, that's I hear you, but other people's comfort, and most of the thing with the fly being down is it's embarrassing for the person. And I'm not going to sit here and say I don't get embarrassed, but I don't embarrass easily. And so if I always know my fly is going to be down, I'm definitely going to have like 7 to 12 witty retorts to say when people say, hey, your fly's down. I don't have them yet because, that's not a part of my life. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. And
right, so
some people would definitely pick the damp shoes thing, but I cannot stand
Luckily,
a damp
I wear mainly
shoe.
flip-flops, so I'd be all right.
See, you would be fine.
So let's change it up, make it a little bit harder.
Okay.
If this makes it harder. Instead of your flies always down, your pants are just a little too big, so at random times, a couple times a day, they may just fall down to your ankles.
Again, don't act like you're not impressed. Yeah, same answer. I mean, It's going to take like a whole lot for you to be like, your shoes are damp. Like it would have to be like, oh, would
just damp socks and dry shoes change anything? Does that make it, is that the same thing to you?
That's the same thing. Yeah. It's the dampness. Now, if I had like some waterproof socks that didn't like let the moisture in, sure, I'll take that. But it would take like a whole lot for me to pick damp shoes and socks in this situation. Like you would have to be
especially in like Sperry's.
You would have to be like, slap your mother once a day or like damp shoes. Well, like I'm not going to slap my mom once a day. Like
twice a week max.
Yeah. If it was like once a week, maybe I'd choose.
Then it's a whole thing. Mom. It's every Monday. We get, not
it's
buy
like,
her
hey,
dinner.
Mom, And it's like, and my mom would probably be on board. She'd be like, yeah, I mean, damp shoes suck.
I mean, I'm
You
slapping
know?
you back.
Right, right. I mean, it's more of a trade-off type of deal. But no, there is like a whole lot of stuff that it would take to I don't know if I could do like walk around with my shoes always damp. If somebody was like, hey, I'll give you $500 a week just to like walk around with your shoes damp. Like I would be.
I mean, that's not even unemployment right now.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like on top of your like regular life. I mean, for real though, $750 a week to walk around with your shoes damp. Like I would be hard pressed to
What's your price?
choose that. Oof. I think if you hit me with like a
$1,500 a week,
$1,500 a week and I walk around with my shoes always damp.
which means you have the option
Now-
to start wearing flip flops, and
Now-
damn flip flops are not that bad.
Now I still won't. I want flip flops are worse than the damp
Okay.
shoes to me.
So dry flip flops or damp shoes.
$1,500 a week to walk around with my shoes always damp. Do I definitely not get like the diseases and shit that come
you
from?
know, we're not talking
so
about giving you
it's
diseases
safety,
because
okay.
otherwise you're using that money on the
Safety,
doctor bill.
right? I'm
Yeah.
just paying, you know. Yeah, I think $1,500 a week. I would probably walk around with my shoes damp. I'm
Now,
not looking
yeah.
forward to it. I'd buy new shoes with it.
dry sandals or damp shoes.
Like flip flops.
Yeah.
Do I get to kick them off a lot?
I mean, when you would normally take your shoes off, like before bed and stuff, like
Yeah. So
whenever
like
you
all
wouldn't
the
wear shoes.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wouldn't wear shoes. See, that's tough to me. No, I mean, I'd pick the flip flops because I can at least.
And you would
take
learn to
off
love
and
them
not,
because
like-
flip flops are amazing.
Yeah, no, I just don't want a thong in between my toe. You know, I just
Yeah.
don't like it, dude. I also not a fan of the look. You know, like I
Yeah.
just don't like the look. On top of the fact that I don't like it
Yeah.
at all.
I mean, I've got flip flops and I got like
Sure.
work sandals. So like I've got
Sure.
some slides I wear when I'm moving stuff and working.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Look, and I'm not. I want to. Don't everybody out there don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not talking, you know, down to people that wear flip flops. I know lots of people that really like and wear flip flops. This is a personal preference type of deal. You know, I just do not like them at all. So, yeah, I would still take them over damp shoes. I hate damp shoes. So, okay.
All right. So let's
Binging
move it. What are
time.
you binging? I'm finally getting caught up on some Doctor Who. I've taken a small hiatus from the Arrowverse. I was getting so burnt out that I was finding that I wasn't enjoying any of it anymore. Like I was watching so much of it, like while I was working before bed. I was like, I can't do this. Like I'm not enjoying it anymore. So started back up on season 8 of Doctor Who last week. I'm on season 9 now. I love, you don't know it, but
Yes.
Peter Capaldi as the Doctor makes a great Doctor.
Is that the one that's like everybody knows about?
No, Peter. Are you talking about Peter Capaldi?
I don't know.
No.
Like the more recent Doctor.
So right now, no, so they're on season 12. So I think they've had right now is a lady Doctor. Don't know her name. I'm not there yet, but I don't know the actress' name. I'm not there yet. But Peter Capaldi's the older guy. Actually, I think he's my favorite Doctor as of now. Everyone loves David Tennant.
That's the one I'm
that's
thinking
everyone's
of. Is
favorite.
like the main.
But for me, before Peter Capaldi, it was Matt Smith and then David Tennant. I think now Peter Capaldi is, that's Peter Capaldi right there.
He absolutely looks like a Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And so does David Tennant to me. I've never got into it. Like I kind of get it.
It's some
like,
people
you know,
like it's some people's like not niche thing.
and it's more not that I'm not interested in watching it or don't care about watching it. It is more just like, dude, I just cannot dig into like another thing in my life. You know?
And it is like the kind of thing, like obviously it's been around since like 1961.
Right. That's
so
what
you
I'm
don't
saying.
like, I've only watched a couple episodes of Classic Who, but
Yeah.
like if you can start like in like, cause they started over season 1 of like the modern Who,
Yeah.
which I mean was they're on 12 seasons, but now it's BBC. It's not American. It's like most American shows have 24 episodes, which is
Right.
insane.
It's like 7
I think
or
it's like
8.
7 or 8 episodes, hour-long episodes. So you're looking at which as an American, I hate. I'm like, give me more. I remember when Luther was coming out and I'm like, are you telling me there's only 6 episodes of this?
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely. I'm with you. I'm one of those guys though that if I got into it, you know me, dude. When I get into something, I get way, way into it.
Yeah.
So like I would
Which I
watch.
think you would.
I know, and there is lots of things in life that I just avoid because I know I don't need another thing in my life. Wheeler loves World of Warcraft. You played a little bit. I
had to get myself off it because I was about to devote my life to it.
I absolutely know There is no question on earth. It's not, I don't play that not because it is what some people will be like, oh, it's a nerd game. I know that my whole life would become World of Warcraft. And so like sometimes you just have to call it before it ever starts. And so like that's more why I've never gotten a Doctor Who. I'm sure I will. At some point in my life.
If college football doesn't come back, I think we will.
College football doesn't come back, I might have to like really, really play hard on the nerd culture. So yeah, Doctor Who's good. I've been watching just like a general, like old little sitcom, Just Shoot Me.
Old David Spade, bud.
Old David Spade or young David Spade, realistically. But I love all the actors in there. I think they're really funny. Like I just like the show. I've always like caught few episodes here and there on like TBS growing up and
How
stuff.
are you watching it?
Hulu, dude.
Oh, it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu now.
All right, well, I know what I'm going to start binging.
Yeah,
I love that show. It used to be the kind of thing where I would like watch on like TV Land. I think it would pop up maybe.
Stuff like that. And so like now it's on Hulu. And so like I'm already on season 2 and it's just such an easy watch. Yeah. You don't have to pay attention. There's not new scenes really. It's all in the same place.
Is Drew Carey in that? Drew Carey's in that, right?
Maybe later, but he is not currently. I mean, I'm only on
I'm thinking of a different show where like Drew Carey was like a boss and he had like an annoying.
No, he's not like a main character.
What is that? Okay, then I've got to look up what that Drew Carey sitcom. I think it was called Drew Carey. It was like
it was called Drew. I think
maybe
right?
Yeah, the Drew Carey show. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So you got it. You got it. You're there. You're in there.
But yeah, so I'm still like I've talked about a couple of weeks now. I've got so much tailgate at the house that I'm still drinking on that.
Yeah, no, we're drinking on it, and I'm okay with that. It's a good, solid beer. It's not something that you're gonna really tire out of.
One of the problems of calculating how much beer you need, like per person, is I didn't take into account that we also had yak's piss.
Yeah,
so we
and I barely drank any of the tailgate, and I did drink like 8 cups of the yak's piss. So mine, I haven't really been binging it. I don't want people to think that I've just been like slamming this stuff or anything. But I was buying my pops a bottle of whiskey or bourbon for Father's Day, and you know me, I can't pass up a good deal. And I rolled by, and it was this Captain Morgan's Long Island iced tea.
Sounds delicious.
It is delicious
and dangerous.
It's only 17%, but when it's not bad, but when it slides down so smooth that it'll get you, especially when you're drinking on the King Cobras with it. So yeah, it was really good. It's out in the kitchen. So when we're done recording, we'll give you a little swallow of it. So, but not bad. $12, dude. That's what I was getting at with the deal thing. I was like, I'll snag this up, dude. No problem. And it was a nice addition. Even my sister liked it, and she's not usually a fan of lots of stuff. So, all right, snap and stick time. I think we got a new drop for that too, buddy.
Yeah.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
All right, so I'll start us off today. That is, and this is really coming up on 4th of July. Fireworks as adults.
Yeah.
I've never gotten it. Like, listen, kids, I get kids love fireworks. I love fireworks as kids. All kids love fireworks.
Or fireworks shows.
Yeah.
I get
it's a fun thing for kids to do, but like adults who go to fireworks shows or like just when there's no kids there and just adults shooting off fireworks.
Sure. That's more what I thought you were getting at. It's just like just buying a bunch of fireworks and shooting them off. Some of you will know this about me. I've worked fireworks tents before. My dad is like, I was literally almost born in a fireworks tent that my mom and dad were working. I grew up around it. I'll tell you what, I love the hell out of selling you some fireworks. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but I never got it either. It's you're lighting it up and you're blowing up things and it's just going in the air. Like, look, and people will say, obviously use your money how you want to use it. If you enjoy it, don't let me and Bobby tell you that you shouldn't do it. But we blow lots of money on lots of stuff. usually it's beer. You know, like I just never got it either, dude.
And
like,
what really, like, listen, when I was in college, I've gone to like fireworks shows just with some friends, and I'm guilty of it. People recording fireworks shows on their phones.
Right.
No one's going to watch that again.
Never, ever. I've done it too. Like when you're younger and it's like finally you like realize like, oh, you know what this is? This means when in 5 months, whenever I need to like delete things off my phone because I have so much shit.
Yeah.
Like you're not just going to re-watch it. Like, yeah, I mean, either you watch it and you enjoy it or you don't. And so, so fireworks as adults is a really good one. Mine is not tipping.
And what a good one.
When it's called for. Okay, look, I'm not that guy that says you have to tip for every little thing that's ever happened and all that stuff. If you are going to a restaurant and you are not tipping, you're garbage.
Yeah.
You're garbage.
Especially right now, because a lot of people were pushing like, oh, open back up the restaurants. It's time to get. So if you are one of the people that pushed for the restaurants to open, for these people to put their health at risk for your convenience.
To be fair, they did that so they could talk to the manager.
Yeah. And then you go there and then you're not going to tip. And I believe that 20% tip is like, you start there.
Yes.
Like that is, if you just do your job.
If you do a horrible job for me, I'm giving you 15%.
See, I'm doing like 18 if you do like an absolutely horrible job.
And see, that's what I'm saying is, look, 15% is what's considered the standard. You know, like most of the time, the crap that you are not tipping for is not even the person's fault. Okay.
Yeah.
You decided to go there. There is not a place on earth that doesn't do takeout. So if you really want a place's food, I don't get, I still do it. If I get some takeout or something, I'll still tip the person. Like I get it.
I tip a little bit. Yeah.
I get it. But like, I'm not sitting here saying that like, I expect you to tip your takeout person, you know, like that's fair. If you're going to take it home and serve yourself, not tipping, folks, for real.
Yeah.
20% baseline.
Especially right now with coronavirus, like I'm doing 30%.
No,
I think I've gone to one restaurant.
I'm tipping higher, but I don't even want to bring anything else into it. Look, you like cheap food and cheap food to be cheap. Everywhere else on earth besides this country, just prices in, employees working into the food.
Proper living wage.
More food, and they're more food. And so what this has done is it's taken those of us that understand that this person is doing a job and we are supplementing their life while the person that is a complete jackass at the entire time and is not interested in anything and is the most work. It's always crazy to me that the people that won't tip are generally the most work for a waitress or waiter.
Yeah.
And it is and I hope that anybody listening that says, well, sometimes I don't tip when this happens or this happened. I hope you take offense to everything that I'm saying because I am not trying to sugarcoat this. You're garbage.
Yeah, you're a bad human being.
Bad person, okay? Because you've had a crappy life till now that you have to go to a restaurant and make people's life crappy. You're bad, and I don't want you listening to the podcast. I don't know how Bobby feels. Maybe you can listen to him.
Get off. Stop. Turn us off.
If you're a not tipper, or if you feel there's a reason to not tip, look, there are bad waitresses out there. I'm not sitting here saying that. But to not tip, like you're basically, you want to know why waiters and waitresses are a lot of times bad? It's because of how you've interacted with them in the beginning. They already know you're not going to tip them, whether they do the best job for you or the worst job for you. So not tipping, absolutely super high on my list. As far as sports go, I think that we both kind of decided, since we were talking about how much we miss sports and how awesome live sports are,
that it really snaps our stick that there's no sports.
Right. So no sports is the overall snap in our stick. We're not going to bring anything up. Because like, look, man, I'll say all of these things that I've complained about in sports over the past, 5, 10, 15 episodes. I take it all back. You can keep doing it if you want,
Well, this is episode 23.
1,000 episodes.
But all right. So that about wraps it up for this week. Find us on Patreon, on social media at Pucks Out Pod, and we will see you guys next week.
Sorry, I had a mouthful of beer. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram at Pucks Out Pod.